All right, we're live. What's going on, guys? Man, I finally cooled down a bit after the game this morning. For me, it was on at 7:30 in the a.m. It's always tough to wake up for that, but I do it anytime we get the early kickoff. Early kickoff always sucks. Never back the early kickoff. But it is what it is. Gotta move on and deal with it. Let's see. Get out of there. Unfortunately, it's another loss. It's 9 losses in 12. One win out of 12. It's brutal. Brutal times. I've got the squad that played up here today and their ratings. Nobody, to be honest, really impressed me at all. Foden got his goal late, kind of a lucky goal. Digne had a terrible touch in the box. He stood on the ball and lost it. And it fell right to Foden, and you'd expect him to score from where it was. Midfield again, Gundogan can't run, not shocking. Kovacic shouldn't be a game in, game out starter. He's more of a squad guy, but injuries, that's how it is. He plays almost every game when he's not injured. Rico was okay, I guess. He's just, weak on the ball. I've grown tired of him a little bit. I wish he could get a break, but not much you can do there. Sad to see Stones go off with an injury again. I don't know what we're doing there. I mean, we rush him back, of course. Don't want to play the kids. Don't want to play JSP. Stones is there 45 minutes and he's injured. It's unfortunate, and I'm probably in the camp of the dude needs to go. He needs to be sold. I don't know what you can do. You can't have a player who just is made of glass and is always injured. It's ridiculous. I don't know if the medical staff has failed him or that just happens to some people. But when you play for a club like Man City, you got to be available. And the dude's missed at least 100 games in his time here at City. I don't think he's ever hit 30 Premier League games since he's been here. Great player. Love the guy. But sorry, bro. Your time's up. You got to go. Can't stay fit. Akanji, back from injury. He did okay, I guess. Vardiol had a stinker, man. I think he's one of the ones that's too tired. He doesn't have it in him right now. He needs a rest, and it's not working for him. Ortega, I thought, was pretty good. He made a great save early on. I don't know what the first few minutes of the game where they could have had 3 goals in 3 minutes. It was like watching kids out there. It was brutal. Grealish, I thought, was okay. Again, he's just not up to standard to be a Man City player, in my opinion. But for the most part, he was okay. He shot a couple times that didn't get blocked. He got a couple shots on target, which sad that's a win for Jack Grealish. I want it to work out for him terribly badly, but I unfortunately don't really see it happening for him. Bernardo, no reason to be starting. It's got to be Savinho on the right. Or someone, I don't know. Bernardo's just been run to the ground the last few years. He's wanted to move, and his legs are seems like his legs are gone. I don't know. We're not going to get any money for him, unfortunately, but I don't know, man. He seems like a guy that's run his heart out for the last few years, and he normally is one you can count on for a 7. He doesn't really provide goals. He doesn't provide assists. He's not really that creative. I don't really know what he's there for anymore. He's a great Pep player. I think he's one of the most protected players. He's not getting dropped ever. Pep loves the guy to death. He's his total package. I remember early on when Pep was here, Bernardo had a great game, and he said, as long as I'm at the club, I will never drop Bernardo Silva. He'll never be sold. He'll be here as long as I'm here. And it's obvious to see. He's not putting in the performances. He doesn't score. I don't know what he brings, really. But nonetheless, he's out on the right, and that obviously should be Savinho. Savinho comes in late, plays on the right, creates a goal for Foden, basically. He puts pressure on the defense. He attacks, and I don't know. Nobody else attacks for us. Haaland, again, up top, plays every game, and poor guy, man. He gets he doesn't get the ball. I saw a stat on Twitter today. He's had 19 touches in his last 3 games combined. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but I did see that on Twitter. Um, and I mean, he's not there to beat on the ball a lot. I understand, but when you're not scoring, it's just like, what is he doing, man? He's second to every ball. It feels like I don't think he's making the same runs because he knows he's not getting the ball. It's tough to watch Holland, and bringing me to the more overarching point of if we don't build the team around Holland in the summer, I honestly think we should sell him because it's a waste. I don't understand how we can have players on the wings and no creativity in the midfield and expect Holland to to dominate like he did when we had KDB and we had wingers who could get him the ball. We had Mahrez, we had creators all over the pitch, and that Grealish was playing better at the time, so they were linking up well. But when Grealish hasn't had a goal in a year and Gundogan can't run anymore, and KDB's injured or unable to play back-to-back games, basically, Holland up top by himself, he just standing in between people, and there's nothing there. He gets no touches. He doesn't get the ball. He didn't even have a shot today, from what I can remember. It was poor all around. Let's see here. We brought in Kyle Walker. Everybody knows the story. Walker's he's toast. He's got to go. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have it anymore. He was fine, I guess, but nobody really stood out today. Savinho, I thought, was pretty good in general, and Doku, I don't know. I don't really understand what Doku does other than he's tricky on the ball. He doesn't have an end product. He doesn't really create goals. He occasionally does, but he's just so inconsistent. Not my kind of player. You know, he's supposed to be, I guess, like the Sterling Sane on the wing, but give me Sterling prime, give me Sane all day over Doku, unfortunately. I would love it if we had Oscar Bob able to come off the bench or start games. He'd be my number one winger right now, but of course, broken leg, can't play until maybe next month, middle of next month, I'm not sure, unfortunately. And then to top that off, before the game starts, we get the news that City are not actually targeting Bruno G, and they're not going after Zubamendi, which is just, the timing of it was terrible. I woke up to the news that we're basically not looking at either one of those guys. And maybe that's not true. Maybe they are, and they don't want that information to get out so they can try to get a good deal and whatnot. But, I mean, I don't know what you do in the midfield if you don't go for Bruno G or you don't go for Zubamendi. Ideally, in my mind, I'm going for Kimmich. He's the ready-made replacement. He is not going to take a while to fit into the team. But, I don't know, seems like they're more interested in the summer move there, get him on a free, because it's going to cost so much to rebuild the team. But to me, you got to have a midfielder, you got to have a striker, and you got to have a defender. You need all three levels of the pitch need someone in January. And I understand January is such a weird window where they don't want to be buying players and clubs don't want to sell players, but it's there. There's no rule that says you can't. So I don't really know why we don't just go for it and lock down top 4, top 5 to get Champions League next year, because it'll be a long, miserable year, in my opinion, without Champions League. The league's gone, obviously. We get no chance to win the league. It's just, we're on relegation form right now. So you get these next couple games through. I think we have 3 games left before we get to January. We'll look here on the fixtures. We got Everton away, I believe. No, Everton at home. Surely we get some points there. I mean, Leicester away, tough one, but again, Leicester are a relegation battling team. We got to get something there. So it's only 2 games now. I don't expect to be able to sign someone and have him play in that West Ham game on the 4th, but surely by the 11th, and this game is kind of irrelevant. I mean, it's Salford. We should be able to advance there without signings or not. But right here, this Brentford game, January 14th, ideally we're going to have two guys bought and having, a couple of training sessions at least so they can get integrated. Again, Kimmich is the one for me. I don't know if it'll happen, or Bruno G, but with that news about Bruno G, it seems increasingly unlikely. Here I've pulled up Bruno G's FB Ref profile. Now I like this site because it's got some advanced analytics and some numbers where you can see how they compare to other midfielders or other players of their position against top 5 leagues, and it shows percentiles, and it's not just stats. It's advanced stats. It's analytics, which I'm a big fan of. If you look at similar players here over the last year to Bruno G, first you're seeing Enzo Fernandez. Now Enzo wasn't doing great originally at Chelsea, but the guy's been balling lately. He's been unbelievable. Of course, you're not going to get him out of Chelsea. This guy right here is a little bit too old. I think he's 29. This guy from Mainz. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about Amiri, so I would probably pass on that one. I just haven't heard of him or seen anything really there. Now, Fofana, maybe, but this one right here, Ezekiel Palacios. Leverkusen plays some exciting football. I really like watching Leverkusen. Of course, I watch them a lot because I like to watch Wirtz, in hopes in the summer maybe we get him. Again, increasingly unlikely to sign Wirtz, unfortunately. But this guy right here, Palacios, he's more of a 6 than Wirtz is, of course, and he might be someone that would fit in well. I don't think that they'd be interested in selling in January, but, we got to buy somebody, so we might as well put the feelers out and see what we can do. I mean, you see here, he's very creative from his deeper role. He's in the 99th percentile of midfielders in the top 5 leagues. He's similar to Gundogan, and these stats with Gundogan are not just the City stats because it's a year, so it's similar to he spent his time at Barca where he was actually really good for them. You got McAllister here, you got Pedri, and João Neves. Another one is a shame we didn't buy all summer and all last year. Everyone said he was going to be 100 to buy him, and he ends up going to PSG for 60 or something. It's a shame we didn't buy João Neves. He'd be doing great. I don't know if he would solve all our issues, but he'd be better than what we got in the midfield. He'd be young, he'd be athletic. And right now we're old and unathletic, unfortunately. You watch the teams today, and I see dudes who just can't move very well, and against guys who are monsters out there like Onana and Morgan Rogers, man, and Kamara. And it's unfortunate that Morgan Rogers is playing so well, and he was with us not that long ago. But the other thing with that is you can't really see the academy players and think, wow, if we hadn't sold them, they'd be doing so well for us. It's not necessarily the case because, maybe his loan at Middlesbrough and his time at Villa, that's what's actually developed him versus if he stayed with us, he would have sat on the bench. He's not getting in, So I don't know. But this guy right here, I mean, Palacios has got the stats, the advanced stats. He's only 26. He's Argentinian, man. He'd be one I'd be looking at. I like the numbers, and Leverkusen are a good team. So I don't know who else we would need. I know we need a striker, but we need a defender. So I haven't seen, unfortunately, anything on Twitter about who that might be. A lot of people like Frimpong. Again, I don't know that necessarily fits our system right now with the center backs all over the back 4 that we like to do. And I've seen some Anthony Robinson, but I think we need more of a right back than a left back, personally. So I don't know. It's another disappointing day to watch City, but, we go again soon. We go on Boxing Day against Everton, and man, surely we can stop some rot here. Everton are not by any means an impressive team or anything like that. So hopefully we can get back on track and we see some positive links on Twitter over this next week or so. But that's it. I'm out, and